Helping people is what I'm all about. Just don't expect any good results.
You got a steady back home? Because my exquisite derriere might make you say otherwise.
Don't expect me to fight the power without creating a scene.
Hello and welcome to the Real Housewives of River Heights. My name is Jade Gregory, and as always, we have my wonderful fellow housewives, Tina.
Hello, my beautiful dolls.
And Nikki.
Hello.
And on today's episode, we will be talking about Unpopular Opinions Part 2. And we have Tatum Sinclair with us again.
Hello!
Spoiler warning for those who have not yet played the Nancy Drew Mystery Game Series. Also, there will be not safe for work content, talks of alcohol, swearing, dirty jokes, etc. So kick the kiddos out and let's get rolling. And on today's episode, I pre-gamed before we got on this, and it's going to be a hot mess. I drank the rest of my pink Catawba. What's everyone else drinking?
Nothing tonight, unfortunately.
That's okay.
This is a dry house tonight as I have run out of alcohol.
I am finished. Probably not finishing. I'm continuing the wine from last time.
Yeah, I finished mine.
I'm drinking a boxed rosé I found in our fridge.
Nice.
A boxed rosé.
Nice.
Fancy.
Smells pretty good.
Smell like a box.
It does not smell like a box.
If you like sweet wine, I highly recommend getting like wine, like a pink Catawba.
Ooh.
I don't know how to say it honestly. Still,
Yeah, I do love sweet wine. I'm a big dessert wine guy. I think if you're drinking wine, it should be like a candy.
this is on a level 5, and then there's a island in Lake Erie called Put-in-Bay, and I swear theirs is even sweeter than this one. And it's technically a pink Catawba again, and they have like the best sweet wine. You can't even tell you're drinking wine. So I highly recommend if you're gonna drink a sweet wine, get yourself a pink Catawba.
Nice. When will they invent like Go-Gurt?
Yes.
When will they invent alcoholic Go-Gurt?
I mean, they have those alcoholic popsicle things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the push pops, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want Go-Gurt.
Like alcoholic Go-Gurt.
Alcoholic Go-Gurt. Make it happen.
Right.
It's on to you, alcohol companies. I don't know. Anheuser-Busch. Yeah, make it happen.
Make it happen. All right, Tina, you want to go ahead and take it away?
Yes, so not last episode, but a few episodes ago, we touched on unpopular opinions and we got so many of them. We only covered half of the list. So we decided to do a part 2 of the unpopular opinions. And if you haven't seen part 1, consider going to check it out because there are some really, really controversial opinions on there. And we've discussed plenty of it. So here are some more unpopular opinions. So the first one we're going to touch on for tonight is dog is overrated. It's just the one that's most commonly people's first game. So that's why so many people think it's one of the best. What do you all think about that?
I agree.
I have to agree, and it's sad that I agree because that was one of my first games, and I actually really have a soft spot for it.
Yeah, me too.
I was surprised that only one person mentioned that dog is overrated, which is a good sign, by the way. It means that dog is really that it's actually an unpopular opinion. So yes, it is unpopular. It is so unfortunate though that everybody's praising dog and I'm like, but we already know our thoughts. If you watched our Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake episode, you already know how we feel about Ghost Dogs.
It's just that intro. I haven't seen your Ghost Dogs Moon Lake intro, so your podcast. So forgive me if I'm repeating something. But I will say that that whole intro scene with the dogs at the door and knocking at the house, that was so good. And that was such a perfect little moment, and the whole game just failed to live up to that. And I think that's a big part of why that game was such a letdown, because there weren't enough moments that were actually scary. like that
Yeah,
beginning part.
yeah. We bring up a lot about how very linear it is.
Oh yeah,
So it because it very much so is very linear of a game compared to the other ones, and just like I.
it's true, and a lot of it is like searching and finding stuff,
Mhm.
which is super boring.
And everyone hates the bugs. So it's like got fond memories, but at the same time it's just so like cut and dry that it's like wow. Cuz I had replayed it so that for that pod and I was like, "Whoa." Like my brain was just like, "Is this really how like straightforward this game is?" Like I did not remember that it was like that.
Yeah, and ultimately none of the characters are really all that likable in my opinion. That's another pitfall. Maybe that's
That
a
is
personal
true.
preference thing.
No, they all suck.
You don't like Daddy? That's fine.
Which one's daddy?
Daddy Acres.
Oh,
Oh
you
god.
mean Supreme Cop Acres?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant William Akers.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, which who I suspect is Mickey Malone's like secret sugar baby.
Sugar baby.
I think Vivian
Why'd
was
you-
the sugar baby.
Yeah, I think
She was 20
No,
years
she-
younger than him.
No, she was the official sugar baby, but he had also another secret sugar.
I'm sorry.
baby.
Are you saying Vivian was a beard?
No, like
No.
the official sugar baby. But
What do you mean?
no, the
The
official
sugar baby.
one. Sugar
who
baby.
is the official? What do you mean official?
Vivian.
No, I don't mean who is official. I mean, what the hell do you mean by official? Like, who?
Well, like, okay, so
What is the governing body that decides sugar babies?
He had one
No,
under the
like-
table and one that he claimed on his taxes.
yeah, like you know when people say, for example, okay, so when people say official girlfriend, like doesn't that sound normal? Like that's what I meant by official sugar baby. He's the one
What?
that
Did he
who
fucking
says to everybody.
did he fucking go on Facebook in 1922 and like, yep, sugar baby.
That's what he would do. Let's
Oh
be
my
real.
god,
I still
my
don't
God.
get it.
I'm so lost.
I get it. I understand. So what she's saying is that Vivian is like his main girl, like his main person he provides for,
Sure.
and William was the side bitch.
No, that's not what I.
I'm
That's
so
not what-
confused. I'm
Okay, so none
lost.
of us know what's going on.
What the fuck are you
This is
talking
why. This is why I'm
about?
saying that Vivian's the beard. Like, is Vivian the beard here?
No, okay. I don't know what beard.
A beard is when you are a closeted person. A beard is your like girlfriend, boyfriend, significant other that covers up for the fact that you are secretly gay.
No, that's not what I meant.
What the hell do you mean?
No, it's like, okay, so my theory is that, okay, so Vivian is Mickey's like of not okay. I'm gonna not gonna say official because this is the word that people stumble on apparently, but he's like at the parties, the speakeasy, the parties and all that. He's like, yes, this is my sugar baby. Everybody's like, yay, like, and all of that. But
What?
like he has another secret one, but he's a bit more shy. He's a bit more shy. He doesn't
That's
want
what
to
I
announce to everybody that he is Mickey's like sugar baby. So Mickey like respects that, and he's like, okay, you are my right wing man, but like I respect the fact that you don't want people to know that you are my sugar baby.
That's what I said. He has
Yeah,
a
so
side
he's-
bitch.
What? The
No, it's okay. No, it's like Vivian knows about it and she respects it as well.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
could still be
that's
side
a
bitch.
side chick.
What?
you have been watching way too much Sopranos. Like, this has to be like a straight up like. I'm sorry. Do you?
I feel like I need her to like draw out what you. I need like a
relationship.
visualization of this.
Okay, so I am talking like I mean, in my head, Mickey Malone is a proud like polysexual like he doesn't mind having different different sugar babies. So but it's just that this one doesn't want to be known as one of Mickey Malone's sugar baby.
Okay.
I'm so lost. Let's move on.
On to the next one.
Comment if you understood any of that.
You can draw the map.
Yes, if anybody's listening, like if you could provide an explanation, a better explanation, like someone who could like interpret my brain. All right, so the next one is about Royal Tower. The gist of it is that people think that it is boring. They say that it's because people it's overrated because everyone has nostalgia over it, but the atmosphere is like ugly, uninviting. Navigation is the worst. The location is like that navigation to that location is the worst. Gameplay repetitive and not fun.
Are these the same people who like dog?
I have no idea. And one person mentioned that they don't like Professor Hotchkiss because okay, so to quote that person, I don't really like Professor Hotchkiss all that much. She's the kind of professor I would love to have because she's so disconnected from reality, and I don't find her quirkiness all that charming.
You stepped in the wrong fucking neighborhood.
I was about to say they these fighting words.
Yeah.
We all know that Treasure Royal Tower is like my favorite game. I don't think it's like confusing. I don't agree with any of the bullshit they just spewed from their mouths.
Yeah.
Hotchkiss is great, and
I have to
the game
agree.
is good.
Yep, it's good.
I will say this though, I can understand someone saying that the navigation is the worst.
That one I respect.
It
But
took
I-
a long time it took a long time for those games to like figure out how to navigate in those worlds. And so for every game, all right, so here's something I want to say, which is that it is absolutely a valid critique that yes, the games are overrated due to nostalgia. That is true for almost every single Nancy Drew game. But I will say this, that the navigation of that game is like top notch compared to the games that came before it. Like if you've played Stay Tuned for Danger or like Secrets Can Kill, like I'm not talking about the remaster, I'm talking about the original versions. It's like terrible. It's nightmarish even. It doesn't make any sense. They use the U-turn symbol to mean rotate, but it clearly is a U-turn symbol. And later on they use it as the U-turn, but it means rotate in the original games, and it doesn't make any sense. It's mind-boggling.
Sound off.
I'm losing it. I'll like fucking lose it. I swear to God. But I will say this: that it is true that they took a really long time to figure out navigation, but because they got it in the end, it means all of their experimentation leading up to that was worthwhile. And I would say Treasure in the Royal Tower is actually the first game to have like what I would even call almost like pretty good navigation.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only thing that I would dock it for is that the environment is a little confusing to get around. Like it's kind of hard to visualize in your brain.
That's the thing, it's supposed to be. Like, even in the book, it's supposed to be dead ends and confusing hallways. So it,
It's
like,
true.
makes sense gameplay-wise since it's based off of the book. So they just, if you don't know the book, you don't get that. So I get it. I get the navigation.
Yep. And as for complaints against Hotchkiss, no.
Yep.
I will give some validity about Hotchkiss if you take into account a Crystal Skull and the one in Egypt, Tomb of the Lost Queen. I will say this though, that someone who played these games and talk to Hotchkiss, they might have gotten tired of Hotchkiss But if you just take into account the game that she was in and not her as a phone character, I think she's great. I think she's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, she does come back in Crystal Skull and Tomb of the Lost Queen, and it's like, why are you here? You are a French history like historian. I don't know what she's a historian, right? In French history. So why are you the our point of contact? But you know. Another person says, I can't stand Professor Hotchkiss or Prudence Rutherford. I despise having to talk to either of them.
I understand Prudence Rutherford.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, she is actually. I find her annoying, but at least in a funny way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you make Danger. Is it Danger by Design? Yeah, it is Danger
Yeah.
by Design. In Danger by Design, when you like make her that really weird costume, like that is super funny.
Her vacation outfits.
Yeah, her vacation furry outfit. Yeah, is very funny. So I stand by that she is super annoying, and I think that is actually a huge bonus. Bonus? It's boon or bonus. I think I wanted to say boon, but I was like, people don't know what boon means. So
They
I said
certainly don't
bonus.
know what bonus means.
I said bonus. It's a huge bonus to her character, I think, that she is annoying, because then you kind of get to roleplay a little bit like, yeah, she's fucking annoying. Like, I don't want to deal with her. Like, I'm gonna, do this task as fast as I can and do a shitty job. And haha, joke's on you. You have a bunny for a face. You know?
I like to imagine, like, Prudence is like, she's old, right? She's like in her 70s or something. I like to imagine like a
Yes.
70-plus-year-old lady wearing a furry bra top and a bunny mask on a cruise ship.
Yeah, this is what I like. This is what I like about her. Like, as a phone character, she's like, okay, she's there, but like whenever I do the outfit puzzle for her, I'm like, good for her. Like, I respect her wardrobe. Like, she's working it.
She's rich enough that no one can say anything to her.
Yeah, I mean, work it. Just work it. Okay, so the next one we have Lani Manila. People are saying that they don't like Lani's voice for Nancy. Like,
Uh-oh.
not to hate on her,
Uh-oh.
like her voice, actual voice, but she doesn't like. Most people are saying that she sounds older. She
Agreed.
doesn't sound like a young woman, like convincingly. Um, s- yeah, she has a good voice, but not for Nancy.
Well, they're not
And
wrong.
Yeah, they're not wrong. She does not sound like a teenage girl. It's true. But on the flip side, let's just take a look at cartoon voice acting, shall we? As a whole, do you think the person who played Tommy Pickles on Rugrats sounded like a baby? I'm just putting that one out there. I mean, I know that's like an unfair comparison, but like, come on. I think we can accept that people can sound something like a facsimile, or something representative of a character, but not actually sound like that character's archetype.
That's
yeah,
fair.
like I like Lani's voice for Nancy, but not because if someone's a character sound like they sound like the voice fits them, good for them. But what I really like about Lani's voice is that it's very, how do I say this? It is very unique. It is just like cartoons, for example. The characters, they have like these like very recognizable voices. So if you were to use that voice, play it somewhere, you would instantly recognize it. For example, Mickey Mouse, or Donald Duck, or Bugs Bunny, stuff like that, you would recognize that voice. And that's how I feel about Lani. She uses this like really distinct voice. It doesn't sound young. It doesn't sound like a young woman, but it's like it's very recognizable. Like it has like this unique tone.
That is true.
It's super true, and I will also add that it means that because Lonnie Manila has worked in a lot of games, I mean a lot of games. Like she is one
Yeah.
of the most prolific video games voice actors to ever live. What's really impressive about that is sometimes she does voices that's the Nancy Drew voice outside of Nancy Drew. One of those times is in a game called Unreal Tournament 2004. Which is a game about shooting and killing and murdering people, which is very funny. And she also does another voice for that game. So they have like an announcer, and the announcer says like ultra kill, double kill, like stuff like that. You can unlock. It's actually not an unlock. I think it's just a special setting. There's a setting in Unreal Tournament 2004 where you can like turn on sexy announcer mode. So if you ever wanted to hear
I've heard of this.
If you ever wanted to hear sexy Nancy Drew say, like having an orgasm to the idea of somebody like fucking murdering a big chunky guy, that's what Unreal Tournament 2004 is like.
Are we allowed to add the sound in?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Play. First blood. Bottom feeder. Headshot. Dominating. Killing spree. Humiliating defeat. Multi-kill. Ultra kill. Monster kill. Rampage. Ludicrous kill. Unstoppable. Godlike. Wicked sick. Holy shit.
She's also in the America's Next Top Model video game.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, like the main character you
Oh
play
my
as has
gosh.
Nancy's voice.
She
All right,
does. It's great.
so someone mentioned
Very
that
good.
they think that the Russian dub voice is infinitely better than Lani's voice. Yes, well,
I've never heard it.
I never listened to
Yeah.
the. Oh, really?
I've heard
what
it.
did you think?
It sounds more like natural because it's like a normal, slightly high-pitched female voice.
we'll let our listeners determine for themselves what they prefer. But if I were to compare Lani's voice to the voice from Midnight Salem, I don't remember her name, the name of the voice actress. The new voice actress, she sounds more like a young woman, but her voice is also a bit more annoying, I would say. Just as annoying as my voice, I would say. So,
Oh my goodness.
I think the new voice actress is
yeah,
good.
No complaints so far.
I mean, she's fine. She's fine.
Yeah, I actually like her voice. It definitely sounds more like a younger person's voice.
There's
and
something about
I
her
actually
voice
like
that
it.
annoys me.
I think she needs to work more on her delivery of
Her
some of the lines.
enunciation is kind of weird. Like she's like Salem.
Yeah, it sounds very like I am reading an educational textbook. Like, you know,
Maybe
like,
It
just
could
do
be
Nancy.
that,
Yeah,
but
fine.
it's not just that as well. There's like, she sounds like she just smoked like 5 packs of cigarettes.
And lot.
Yeah, like
Really?
maybe.
What?
I feel like I don't get that from her
I
voice
don't
at
get
all.
that at all.
Maybe Lonnie's
Okay.
voice sometimes.
Lonnie
Yeah.
definitely has the cigarette smoker voice.
Nancy's 18, has been chain smoking for 25 years.
I mean, no, it's like I don't know. Maybe it's my brain, but Lani sounds like she hasn't smoked, and the new girl sounds like she smoked just before the recording.
You must have heard different
God.
smokers.
Yeah, how many smokers do you know?
I think I'll shut up
I
now.
can't.
No response.
Okay, no, like okay, maybe I
She had to
chose
think
the
about it.
wrong. I
There's so
chose the
many.
wrong example, not example, but there is something like in her voice that is like grating. It's like a cheese grater.
I think
Yeah,
I know what you
she
mean.
sounds like this a lot. She sounds like this a lot.
Oh, and she's like
I don't
fake
know.
whispering. Like I don't. All right, Tina. Which of these sounds more like Nancy Drew to you? Hi, I'm Nancy Drew. Or hey kids, I'm Nancy Drew.
The second one, obviously.
That's difficult. I mean, that second one is actually really convincing. I will say, no, I'm kidding. I'm
Really?
kidding.
All right, we're going for a ride in my blue roadster.
That's how Nancy should sound, considering she's like 83.
Okay, well, we settled the debate. Lani is the perfect voice because she sounds like an 80-year-old.
Come on, Ned. Hey, Ned, I haven't seen you since the 20s, but
You're like concerningly good at that.
It's almost Beetlejuice.
I was definitely going for Beetlejuice.
Good. I got what you were laying down.
For the next one, we have. Oh, okay. So the people are hating on Curse of Blackmore Manor. Not me. So
I'm shooting the messenger on this one.
Sorry. It's time for you.
I
to
got
go.
a lot of comments about it. I didn't copy pasted all of that, but I got a lot of comments from people saying that they hate Curse of Blackmore Manor. Like 1% said that they hated her because the story is weird. There's too many puzzles and it's just not fun. Another one said that they tried and personally hated it. It took them like a couple of tries and a walkthrough to beat it since they got bored halfway through. I haven't copy pasted and the other ones, but I think it's because it's all in the same realm. Like the story is weird. There's too many puzzles. It's like not fun.
It does have a lot of puzzles. I think it depends on your level of experience with the games. If that's your first game, you might not like it because it's kind of intimidating.
Yeah, that was my first game as a kid, and it was definitely very intimidating where I didn't finish it. And I also didn't know about walkthroughs, but I'm also like the walkthrough queen. Like most of these games I have played with walkthroughs, but I've still enjoyed myself. So I think it's finding that balance between enjoying what you're doing and enjoying the plot. And if you don't enjoy the plot to begin with, then you're not going to enjoy even if you do play it with a walkthrough.
I agree with all that, and also I want to add that because that game has like 3 ongoing, shall I say, like puzzle paths. Like at any given time, you could be solving a puzzle that leads you to another thing, and so forth. Because of that, and there's so many puzzles, you can often get stuck and like forget that you have to do something that you thought you might have already done. Like there's like some like you just have to play a game with Jane or something. You're like, oh, I don't want to do this right now. I'm just gonna go deal with Lulu or whatever, or whichever it is. Is it Lulu or Cuckoo? No, it's Lulu.
Lulu is in Cuckoo's in Ransom of the Seven Ships.
That's right. They're the same model, whatever.
It's the same bird.
Okay,
it's the same bird.
Curse of Blackmore Manor is in my top 5, but I will say if you are not into puzzle heavy games, then definitely I can understand why you would find this fun. Personally, I love puzzle heavy games, which is why I love games like Labyrinth of Lies, where it's very puzzle heavy, puzzle after puzzle. So it's based on what you like in an SCG games. In this case, if you love puzzles, you will love Curse of Blackmore Manor.
Yeah, and think about it if you think about it this way too, and this is a purely like dollar value to what you get sort of way of thinking. But if a game has more puzzles, that's more code they had to write, like a lot more code. Like that is That's a lot of work to put together a game that has a lot of puzzles that don't show up in other games. So, in one hand, it's like you look at it, you say there's too many puzzles. That's fair. Like you know, maybe it's true. Like maybe it hurts the gameplay experience. But on the other hand, it means you're probably going to be able to replay it later and still have it be a challenge. And that challenge is what a lot of people still seek, I think, in those
Yeah,
puzzles.
it's like because when you replay the games, it's like you want to get the feeling that you're solving the puzzle again instead of just remembering the solution, or having to sit
Yeah.
through like the dialogue. Most I guess that people would rather like be able to solve again puzzles. And so yeah, but if it was like a game where there's not a lot of puzzle, you can see it with like for example Midnight Salem got a lot of flack for not having a lot of puzzles. And
I think it has three.
Yeah, it has 3 puzzles, and most of them are, like, pretty simple.
The first one is literally like
yeah,
childish.
but let's say that Salem, let's say that it has a really good story. It would still suffer from a lack of puzzles because at this point you're just like, I mean, it would feel like a Telltale game at this point, like very much a lot of dialogues, a lot of story, little gameplay. But if you are into that, I mean, if you're into that,
I think it is possible. This is speculation, not really related to the question or the opinion or whatever. But I think it is possible that what people want out of adventure games now is something more like the Telltale adventures and something more like Life is Strange. Like
Yeah.
they want something that will need figuring out, but they don't necessarily want to figure out how to progress. They just want to figure out like what's going on in the story and encounter
that's
like
a
new
good point.
dialogue
That's a good
options.
point.
And I can't disagree with like that is a fair argument. Like what in the modern day makes adventure games different from like an RPG? Because there's not really a whole lot. Like in the end, right now what we have is in RPGs are basically, you have your character, you can build your own character and talk to people and experience the world. Meanwhile, in an adventure game, you don't do any real character creation. Like maybe you can customize a couple things, but in like a Nancy Drew game, for example, you are still talking to people and doing things in the world, but you just don't have much influence on it. You're just kind of getting from point A to point B. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like that is a perfectly valid way of expressing a game world and expressing, gameplay. And I think a lot of people would be overwhelmed by an RPG. But I think like just considering that the design for these things have changed. It used to be like with Myst, there were no characters, and that was still considered like a really fun game. Like people loved that game. There was just nothing to do. The story was completely told through just text found around. So there's a curve of like narrative relevance in video games, and I think we're reaching we're basically at the peak, and it's still climbing of narrative relevance in games. And over time, that will grow more. And hopefully, if we get more Nancy Drew games, we will see more of that. And I think we saw more of that in Midnight in Salem too, because we could ask difficult questions to characters, and they would have interesting responses, and that would actually affect the outcome of the game, especially at the end. Even though it was kind of clumsy, I still think that is actually like a positive direction in the design of the
Yeah.
game. Yeah, that was a lot.
I don't know what to say about that.
I love to dump just a lot of information at once, but really what I'm trying to say is like over time, games are going
Yeah,
to
I can
be
see that
more about the
happening.
story.
I can see that happening.
That's my
Okay,
theory
so the
anyway.
next unpopular opinion is Scarlet Hand sucks. I don't.
Oh gosh.
I think we're gonna be
I
I
heard
don't
torn
know.
this one.
Like
I think.
was.
Yeah.
Okay, I was under the impression that Scarlet Hand, the most popular opinion out there is that it's middle tier, because I don't hear a lot of praise for Scarlet Hand, but I don't see a lot of dislikes for Scarlet Hand. I feel it's one of these games. It's like it's okay, it's good, it's fine. Like in general, in the general Nancy Drew community. So um,
I think when I was younger, I really liked Scarlet Hand because it felt very dramatic. Like the events of that game felt like uh, very real.
Yeah, that's what I like about it too.
Like these are real issues that they're talking about, and you know, you play a role in it, even though it's small and silly, and it involves solving some really dumb puzzles in the
yeah,
museum.
I used to be scared of the ham radio when I was like a kid playing
Oh, I
this.
was definitely scared of the ham.
I
I was
didn't
scared of
like
the ham
the
radio, and
voice.
I was scared of the fucking box that came after you order it, like with the faces on it. That's the
I think
creepiest
like
box ever.
I think like as a kid I knew that like Nancy was doing something illegal, so it really sketched me out having to do it. So
Yeah,
and I didn't like the voice. The voice really creeped me out because I think I was like, "Oh my god, these are criminals."
yeah, they sound complete. Like that was actually that was a pro move. Like they clearly brought in somebody else to do
Yeah.
the voices there, and that was like, whoa, oh god.
That game pisses me off as an adult just because I've worked in museums.
Oh yeah, Nancy has like zero museum know-how or anything, but
Nope.
Yeah, Nancy's a terrible
she's just
curator.
touching shit with her bare hands, stealing things from display
Exactly.
cases.
Exactly. Nah, I don't. Nope. Don't get me started. All right.
yeah, I can see why people wouldn't like Scarlet Hand because it's very. If you already don't like museums, you're already in for a bad time. But like, it's very, very education oriented. All the games are all the puzzles are related to learning about Mayan culture. And if you hate, you know, if you hate learning, you're really in for a bad time because it's just all the puzzles are like solving the museum games.
But even the educational element really falls apart, though, right? Because a lot of that stuff, I think we've even mentioned this on the last episode. So a lot of that stuff is just straight up made up.
Yeah, so actually we talked about this on our episode we did with our friend Lindsay, and she cleared up some of the misconceptions. She said it's actually not as
Yeah,
inaccurate
it's
as we thought it
actually
was.
they
Oh, really?
like I think like the things that they got wrong are like the translation of the glyphs like that you find around in the museum.
Yeah, she said the glyphs are like meaningless. They don't mean what the game says they mean.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But what
And
you
they
read
mispronounced some
about,
things.
this on the plaques like King Pakal, the stuff that you can hear in the guide, and most of the stuff is like it's actually accurate. The thing on the
Oh,
ground
wow.
is like the calendar that is on the ground of the museum. It's not accurate. It's an Aztec calendar. But if you want to find more, just consider listening to our podcast.
Or visit your local
Yeah.
library.
Ask your fellow archaeologist.
Uh,
Oh, you don't have one of those? Oh, maybe you should listen to our podcast then.
Oh, yeah. Consider paying thousands on thousands of dollars of going to school and
Consider
getting
becoming an
experience in the field.
all
archaeologist.
right.
Yeah.
So the next unpopular opinion that we have is uh, people defending Midnight Salem. It was it was gonna it was gonna happen. It was gonna come up. People are saying that there's too much hate for Midnight Salem. They love Midnight Salem, like they love the story and the characters. The puzzles were fun in MID. Um, they if someone said that anyone saying MID wasn't that bad either didn't play it themselves or hasn't seen it came out and has so basically the Midnight Salem is not as bad as people say. Like yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
I agree. I totally agree. I don't agree that it's like a good game, but I'd certainly agree that it is not as bad as people say.
Yeah,
It could have been a lot worse.
true.
It's honestly shocking anything came out.
Yeah. Honestly, I never thought it would
I
come out
observed
and
this
then it
something
did.
though because recently I watched Emma from Miss Emma Games stream Midnight Salem like play for the first time, and for the longest time she didn't want to play it because of how bad she heard the stuff, like really bad criticism, like really bad reviews and stuff like that. She
Yeah.
regretted it. She ended up streaming it finally, and she was like, yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And I think it all comes down to your
Yeah.
expectations. The people who played this game when it first came out, like they were waiting for it. They were like, "Oh my gosh, I waited for this for 5 years!" Like, and finally it's coming out. It's gonna be good and all of that. They were expecting like the waiting, the 5 year waiting to be like justified, so their expectations were really high.
Mhm.
So when they played it, it performed worse than what was on in their head, which is why they were like, oh, it was so bad and all of that. But the people who waited and they were like, no, I'm not gonna play it because I hear that it's bad and all of that, they didn't like play on launch. They didn't play on launch, and they were like, "Oh no, it's gonna be bad," and they ended up playing it, and they were like, "It's not that bad."
I was definitely pleasantly surprised by the game. Like, I thought it was going to be garbage when I bought it, and I bought it after release. And I played it, and I was like, this is actually pretty fun. I was having a good time.
This is what I have to say about it, is that it actually isn't that bad of a game, but I will say is that people were waiting for 5 years, and I feel like for what they put out, there's definitely some things that could be improved on, and they were outsourcing a lot of the content that was getting created for it, and I think that they had for the most part, completed game, but it's definitely not perfect, and I think they just pushed it out because people were complaining, and so I think there's some improvements, and I think they've hopefully learned from their mistakes and like some of the graphic quality issues that I find with it, but in regards to like certain like background
I want to say
stuff.
that yes, they pushed it out. They pushed it out. They weren't ready. Obviously, like it wasn't ready to be pushed out. But at the same time, 5 years is a long time for a Nancy Drew game. I'll just be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we're also used to the older like the older
Yeah.
software, where it was easier for them to push out those games so quickly.
Yeah. 6 month development times are insane for the for the amount of game that we got. Is like shocking. And like the level of quality for each Nancy Drew game being made in 6 months. That's
It
how
probably was longer than 6 months, but
I think each game had like, I think they said like a few months of pre-production, but
yeah.
that's pre-production is not like, it doesn't matter how much pre-production you do. I mean, it does matter, but it doesn't matter with regards to actually like quality of the game, like the game running and like working and playing good. Like imagine you're building a machine. You have to build a new machine every 6 months. And you have to work with like 15 other people to build this machine. And if it doesn't come out at the end of the 6 months, then the machine just gets thrown out. It's like you have to design a new one every time,
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. What's shocking to me? Well, I mean, as I've said, I mean, I have a fairly unique perspective, I feel, on Nancy Drew Midnight Salem, being somebody who is a fan of the series, but has also recently launched my own game on with Unity on stores. And I will plug Paparazzi, a video game where you take pictures of dogs. And our game has some of the same issues that Midnight Salem has outright. our game took a really long time to release after we announced it. We announced it in 2019, and we didn't launch until January 20th, so 2 weeks ago, as of recording. And that took a really long time. We didn't really spend all that time like stringing on fans, because it's not like another game in the series. But at the same time, we still have people who were like upset with us. Like, we had fans of our company who were like asking us like, "Hey, where's the information about this game? Like, where are we at?" And similar to the case in Her Interactive, our company went through a huge shakeup in the middle of development, where we actually lost a ton of people, and the game had to continue somehow. We did not do what Her Interactive did, which is outsourcing.
Yeah.
Her Interactive opted to completely outsource the game. It's not just partially, it's completely. The only thing I think that wasn't outsourced was the original script for the writing. And even then, that was rewritten by writers at... I forget the name of the company.
The Austrian
Mipumi. Yeah, which is fine. I mean, actually, I've played other Mipumi games. They're pretty good. Mipumi is a really skilled developer. I think they just have the same struggle that we had as a studio, where we were also doing contract work to support our games work. And you never want to spend as much time focusing on contract work as you're spending on your game work, because you have to balance the two. It's like, you didn't start a company with the dream of working on other people's games. You started a game company because you wanted to work on your own games, right? And so, like, I super understand the struggle, and I 100% I feel for them. I really do. And I think even still, all that said, like, Midnight in Salem actually shows, if you ignore the issues, which I know is really hard, but if you if you ignore the issues, Midnight in Salem actually has some very, very interesting new ways of experiencing what's essentially the same Nancy Drew content. Like, you have new kinds of puzzles that are possible because of 3D. You have actually new ways of navigating. I'm really frustrated that they don't have an option for a 360-degree mouse control for navigating the environment. But what's funny is you can open up your camera in the game, like your phone camera, and then it is 360 degree. Like, you can just point your camera anywhere, like it's a first-person shooter, which is really what should have always been. And I'm surprised they didn't do that.
A first-person shooter?
I think there was a reason, was because I think a lot of the fans had concerns about Vertigo. Like, a lot of kids a lot of
fans wanted it to stay point and click. I remember that too.
A lot of them,
so
Nancy Drew was the only thing they could play because they'd get dizzy with anything else.
Yep, I vibe with that. When I say like a first person shooter, what I'm referring to is specifically mouse look. I don't mean like using WASD to move around.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, mouse look. For those who aren't familiar with the term, mouse look means the camera moves when your mouse moves, which means when you move your mouse left, it's like your in-game character's head moves left. Why do I think that would have been good? Because you actually miss out on a lot of the environment detail, and it's surprisingly detailed. Some of it feels more barren. Some of the places feel more barren than other places. But it's still, it's a full 3D game. I think they should have utilized that to its full ability. But because they didn't do that, the flip side of this coin, because they didn't do that, they developed what I feel is actually kind of an immense achievement, which is that they managed to develop a new way of exploring 3D environments with only cursor prompts, which is shocking. Like, that must have been an insane amount of work for UI developers. And all this might mean nothing to some people. Like, you're like, okay, whatever. You can click around the screen and move around. We've always been able to do that in Nancy Drew. That is easy to do in 2D. When you have just a picture and you can tell what part of the picture you click and it goes where, can you even imagine what that means in 3D? Like, that is like, what?
Yeah, that's been more complex.
It's extremely complex. That is a ton of math you're doing transformations between 3D and 2D, and then add on to that it has to change a little bit depending on the angle of the view, because you can angle your head just a little bit, and the button context actually changes when you do that. Like if you change the angle a little bit, a left arrow will turn into a straight arrow. It's wild. I've never seen anything ever do that. And I realized why they did that when you plug in a controller, because controlling the game with a controller is the best control method of any Nancy Drew game ever. I seriously, I'm holding to this.
I have heard that this game it runs best with controller.
It is crazy. I don't know why they did that. I think maybe they wanted to launch on Switch. Maybe they wanted to launch on, any other game console. But
I know that the original intent with Unity was to go like multi-device, but they just ended up not doing that.
It is immensely expensive to
I'm sure
do
that's
that.
why.
They didn't sell enough either. So
it did not sell enough. Yeah. There's absolutely no way. So on one hand, I feel like it was a very ambitious project that was successful in a lot of aspects. But on the other hand, you have to recognize the flaws, and there's just no way they will ever port it to console because it suffers from a lot of performance issues. And I think there just is nobody available to fix those, and it would take too much work and cost too much money. And so I think they've just decided to call it a dead duck and move on, which, I can't blame them. I think in the same position, I would do the same.
Yeah, I think people probably don't realize how much effort and money goes into video games. So like when people are like, oh, why didn't they do all this stuff? It's like, well, that costs money.
Yeah, like when we talk like a small update to a game, like imagine all right, so first of all, when you get an update to a game on a console, the developer is paying a fee to the console company to send that update to you. That's just to send the update. That's not actually working on the game. That doesn't cover cost of actually making the update. That's just to deliver the update to the customers. Like, that's how predatory the games industry is.
God, I didn't know that they charged for that sort of thing.
Yeah, it depends on the publisher, to be clear, but that is a common situation.
Interesting.
Usually what they're charging for there is they're charging for something called certification, and they're charging for something else. If you're going through a publisher, they will also charge for QA, where they're actually like having players sit down and play it to find bugs that would otherwise pass through certification.
That makes sense.
So it is very expensive. And I'm honestly shocked that Her Interactive as a company still exists.
Who knows?
And apparently they're making a new game, but I'm gonna bet the next game is significantly pared down.
Oof. That's not gonna be good for the fans.
Tatum, do you want?
Yeah, well,
once we get to Midnight Sim, do you want to come back?
I would love to. I don't know how much else I could say about this, but I do have some very specific things I want to talk about in that game. And I do have some interesting. I have what I feel are interesting things to say about it.
So the next unpopular opinion is about Shadow Ranch. People are saying that they hate Shadow Ranch.
Oh gosh!
And I wish. Okay, so a lot of the opinions that I copy pasted, I wish that people would have explained why. It's the same with Scarlet Hand just now. They do not I appreciate the people who go into details as to why they like something or why they think that something sucks. But just like Scarlet Hand, no explanation. They just hate Shadow Ranch. So we can only
is iconic,
speculate
though.
why they would hate Shadow Ranch.
They probably hate it. Yeah, they probably hate it because I don't know. They hate life. They hate joy.
They don't like the renaissance of the Nancy Drew series.
Yeah, literally like the golden age games.
Exactly.
I mean,
it's everyone's nostalgia pieces are Shadow, Blackmore, and
Last Train.
I mean,
Yeah.
like the plot of Shadow Ranch is just so good. Like the Dirk and Francis story.
Check out our bonus episode for a fan fiction on that.
I mean, we knew someone who hated Shadow Ranch, but like, do you remember what they said about Shadow Ranch? We knew someone who hated Shadow Ranch.
Oh, I
Yeah,
don't remember
no,
what they said.
but I remember clearly that they really hated, like, it's like their bottom, like they're worst. Maybe not worse than Ransom, but like in their bottom five. But yeah, I don't remember the explanation.
Hmm.
You can't see me glaring, but I am glaring.
Yeah, I don't remember what people didn't like about Shadow Ranch, but I will say that if there's one thing that I think everybody should like about Shadow Ranch, it's that the music is like so insanely good.
It is so good.
Like some of the best, most like earwormy music that has ever come out of the Nancy Drew series ever. Yeah, I find myself whistling it a lot at work, and I have like a bunch of old guys that I work with who are like country guys, and they're like, "Oh, that sounds familiar," and I'm like, you play a lot of adventure games made for girls." Like,
Yeah,
it's always
I
fun.
really like Shadow Ranch. It's really giving me that western like feel. Like there is romance, there is robbery, there is like forbidden love, ghost town, horses, all that stuff. And so what I was saying is that Shadow Ranch is like giving me all I like in a western. It's there's romance, forbidden love. There is like a gold. There is a robbery. There is a ghost town, horses, stuff like that. It's, if you love a good western, if you love a good forbidden romance and all of that, you'll definitely love Shadow Ranch. If you hate vegetables and vegetable picking, I guess. Which, by the way, I know a lot of people don't realize it. A lot of people don't realize it, but for those of you who hate the vegetable picking, you can simply pick up all the vegetables. Pick up all of them, and you give it to Shorty, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, you picked too many vegetables. I will just throw away the ones that are not good, and keep the rest, and that's it. You can just go on with your day."
Really? I've never tried doing that.
Wait, I am gonna boot up Shadow Ranch and try
He's like, I'm about to do it right now.
I have never heard of that before.
What can you do?
He doesn't say like, "Oh, you picked unripe
It's not even like
vegetables."
from me. Like, I heard from Joe.
I could have sworn they just send you home if you did that.
I think are we talking about like if you do it so many times he just accepts them but like reprimands you?
No, like if you just pick every single vegetable on like the plant,
I could
like
be
outside, and you
wrong
bring them
though,
in.
but I remember that. Okay, so
My
I
brain
remember that
misheard.
Kate Foley mentioned that he got so tired of Shorty's bullshit that he picked all the vegetables, all of them, and he's like, "There you go, have them." And Shorty was like, "Oh, so it looks like you picked more than." You have all the ripe, but you also have a few ripe. So let me just throw away the unripe. And
Oh wait, no, I've gotten that before. Did you guys not know about that?
No, I've never tried picking all the vegetables.
I've
always
gotten
just
that,
get the ripe
but
ones.
not by picking all of them. But I've like picked them and like I've mispicked some of it, and like he's just been like, "I'll just throw the rest." You know what I mean?
Well, I've had him do that with overripe vegetables. Like if you pick the ones that are overripe, he'll be like, "Oh," and he won't say anything. But I didn't know you could pick them all, and that he would just.
I guess
he
it's
wouldn't
under
get
the
mad at you.
assumption that a lot of them are overripe. Then
I haven't touched Shadow Ranch in like forever, so it's just something we'll have to test out when the Shadow Ranch episode comes up.
Here's a weird thing that's always bugged me about Shadow Ranch. when you pick the vegetables, the game makes a very specific point of telling you, like, all right, now that I picked the vegetables, I gotta get them out of the sun real quick. What the fuck? What?
They've been outside, like, right?
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Like, huh?
Like, what the hell are you talking about, Nancy?
They're gonna
like,
roast now that they're off the vine.
like I understand that for like eggs. I don't
Yeah.
understand it for vegetables, and she doesn't do it for the eggs, so it doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
she's like, the eggs could actually cook
Has
if you
anyone
let them
ever tried
outside.
staying
Yeah.
outside, like, and see if the vegetables do get rotten if you stay?
They don't get rotten. They do get a little. They can get
Like
a little
crispy?
tough.
No, I mean in the game.
They don't get. Oh, in the game. Oh no, I've never tried.
Yeah,
Okay,
one of
I got
those
two things to
actually.
try.
Yeah, we got some Shadow Ranch urban
Alright,
legends
so
to debunk.
yeah, I feel like most people here are in team Shadow Good. The next unpopular opinion, I take offense to it. I will fight them. I will, I will throw the glove and slap them with it, and we're gonna fight behind the Denny's because
That was
this
so
is
specific.
yes, like we're gonna box like the YouTuber boxes, like on the ring. We're gonna live stream it. I will represent.
Behind a Denny's.
I will.
I'm sorry. Can we explain for a little bit of context? She's talking about Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear, YouTubers do not regularly box.
I want to beef with these people because this is about Deception Island. Okay, this
Oh,
person
no.
says I found DDI to be kind of boring. If it's any consolation, I love the soundtrack. Another person said Daedron Deception Island is not a fun game, and another person said DDI has annoying music.
I'm literally currently playing this right now.
I can't. I can't
I
fathom
will-
having these
I will
opinions.
find you. I will find you, and I will kill you. I'm kidding.
Literally streaming it today, and like somebody comes in and starts slandering it, and Tina just pops up saying, "I hear there's slander."
All I have to say
Yeah.
about all that is that wrong. Deception Island is good. It's like there are some opinions. It's just your opinion. It's valid, and there are some opinions. It's like straight up like you are factually wrong. Factually, like it's in the Bible here. Like look at this. Like God says, Deception Island good. Okay, it's not me who totally wrote that at the bottom of your Bible, okay? It's just factually right. The Deception Island, good.
I have a very I played Deception Island recently, and I played it on specifically like an old computer monitor, a CRT monitor, and that game looks so good on an old monitor, like really weird how good that game looks on a old like 640 by 480 monitor or 800 by 600 or whatever. um, I don't know what it is that makes it look so good on those kinds of monitors specifically. I only understand a little bit about that, but man, it's the sort of thing you can only see in person and understand. But it just has like the perfect color profile and like texture resolution. A game looks like unbelievably good on an old computer monitor. So if you are having trouble like liking DDI, I highly recommend digging out your old computer, plugging in the old monitor to your new computer, and seeing how it looks, because it really enhanced my experience, and it's still a good game too. Like I don't really have any really.
I
major
feel like
complaints
most of the
about it.
complaints is about like is about the clamming, and yeah, you know what? Just suck it up. Just suck it up. Okay, it's a good game.
The clamming is hard. I do agree. The crab hunting thing is a pain in the ass. But those are pretty much the only
What?
two
The
things
crab
in that game that
hunting
I'm
is
like,
so
okay, these are
easy.
bad.
Just pick up a crab and see is the dick thin or is it large?
Oh yeah. I had no problems today.
Is the girth? How
I
is
was
the girth?
surprised myself.
Well-
I
How is
just
the
didn't know to
girth
pick
of
up
the
rock.
crab? Is it? Yeah, like
Well, it's been a while since I've done it, but I mean, yeah, sure.
Go replay it real quick. Come back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, all right.
So
Bye, guys.
the next one is it's a simple one. No reasons given. It just says I like Tomb of the Lost Queen.
Yeah. Honestly, it's fine.
It's
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played it recently as well, and
Yeah. I got no complaints about it, honestly.
I have some complaints, which are that the plot doesn't make any goddamn
Well, there's
sense.
that.
Oh, yeah,
I
no,
was
not
about
at
to
all.
say that. I was like, there's one thing is that the plot.
I mean,
flow
what is
is
Nancy doing there? She's like not qualified at
dying
all.
of dehydration.
What is Nancy doing there? 2, what are any of them doing there? 3, what the hell? What's with the freaking Indiana Jones looking ass guy?
Yeah, Dylan. Why
What's
is he
his
there?
deal?
He's like a fake tour guide. How did he get there?
4, why is was her name Fatima? No, what was her name?
No.
Jamila?
Jamila. I'm sorry.
Fatima, she works at Copper Gorge.
But I fucking
Yeah.
I fucking confused her with fucking the inspector in Copper Gorge. Jamila is like an Anunnaki believer. Like what the hell?
Well, she's like a fake Anunnaki believer because spoilers, turns out that like she has her own thing going on and she's just using that
Right.
as a cover to be there and not draw suspicion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She comes. Do we call her in Medallion?
Shattered. Yeah, we do.
Dude, that's right. I forgot about that. Oh my god. Man, that whole game. Oof.
Yeah, honestly, there's nothing wrong to Tomb of the Lost Queen per se, but I still find it boring. It's just it's really tough to get through. Like I'm not invested in the story, I'm not invested in the puzzles, and the setting is like it feels small. Setting feels small.
I have another complaint, which is that all of the glyph translating, again, like it's a video game, I get it, but no.
How is like Nancy able to translate better than Abdullah, who has like a whole degree in archaeology?
There's that element, but also the fact that the glyphs literally translate letter for letter into English.
Yeah, that's not how hieroglyphs work.
It doesn't make any sense even remotely.
No.
So yeah, all the educational elements of that game are pretty much out the window. Like there is just no educational value to it, which kind of begs the question why they chose that as a setting.
Not to mention, like Nancy once again like disrespects an ancient site by like touching artifacts with
exactly.
no respect. She like just cuts off the seal of the tomb at one point.
Yeah. I feel like the game had a kind of spooky atmosphere, but did not earn it. Like it didn't actually ever pull off any major scares when it had tons of opportunity to. And I think in some ways I feel like I feel ripped off by that. I don't know. I was really expecting more of the Scarlet Hand, like you're locked in the tomb with just a flashlight moment, and that doesn't really ever come.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like a cave in at one point, but
it's
that's
for
it.
like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and the lights are fully on.
Yeah. There are some moments that are intense, but I think they really could have knocked this one out of the park. I think that's ultimately my complaint is that they had a lot of opportunities to just nail it, and instead of completely nailing it, they just kind of it just feels half-assed, I think, which is fine. I give it
Okay,
a 6
there
out
you
of
go.
10. It's just
Now
fine.
you have Tatum's rating for Tomorrow the Lost Queen. All right, so the next one is someone says that MID has the best versions of Frank, Joe, and Deirdre.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree
Mostly
too.
because I think Deirdre just gets more time in Midnight
Yeah,
in Salem, so
Yeah.
like of course she
I
gets to
don't
be a
know
better
about.
character.
I mean, Deirdre, yes. Frank and Joe, I like their design, like the design, their looks.
Yeah, I mean their previous appearances have been pretty bad, so I think this was like a huge glow up for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, this,
Kapu Cave, Frank and Joe are nightmare fuel.
yeah,
More
very
beautiful
true.
than
Joe looks
Train.
like this sounds mean, but like Joe literally looks like
Oh,
a
I heard
caveman.
that from
Yeah,
few people.
he's like a Neanderthal.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Joe
Um,
definitely like 100% looks better in MID. Frank, okay, so Frank's design could be better. But at the same time, the his look kind of fits his personality still. Kind of. It's a bit it's a bit more serious, although d- it makes me I want to redesign Frank a bit, but other than that, he looks good. He looks good. The true unpopular opinion would be like I don't they no they if someone doesn't like the design of Frank and Joe in Last Train.
I think in Last Train they look like Ken dolls,
Hmm.
and I think
Yeah.
in the latest version they look more natural. If anything, they look too tumblery. That's how I would put it.
They're kind of. I think Joe especially looks very like hipstery. So I don't know what they were going off of with Frank and Joe, but
Yeah, if you look in the concept art, you can see that Joe is clearly supposed to be wearing a Beatles sweatshirt.
yeah, I remember that. Except it like looks like it says like Beatles or something on
I
it.
so I
Yeah.
ju- I observed something. I don't know if anybody else agrees with me, but when when there's like Bess and George or like Frank and Joe, they appear in the game. They look way more sloppy than the main suspects. Like the animators, like they don't spend as much time on these side characters, like the Nancy's like friends. Um, they put way more effort on the suspects because like the eyes of Frank and Joe are very like empty. Like it's like there's nothing. While the designs of like let's say Laurie Gerard or this Gray, his name Gray, they look like good. They look like they look human. Like let's say and Tino also. It's like the eyes they don't look empty.
Yeah,
So
they seem more
yeah,
alive.
they similar.
I think that comes true in their writing too. Like Frank and Joe, I think in Last Train they weren't really sure how to write them yet. Like they weren't really sure if they wanted to be like joking around a whole lot. Like they do a little bit of joking around in Last Train with Frank and Joe, but it doesn't. It's not as much as they do in Midnight in Salem for sure. I would say Midnight in Salem is the best version of all three of those characters: Deidre,
Like in Last Train,
Frank,
they
and
gave
Joe.
them like very
Personally,
like very black eyes, black eyes. But in Midnight Salem, doesn't Joe have like blue eyes? Joe has blue eyes in Midnight Salem, right? Yeah.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
I
No,
can't
I'm starting
remember
to
now.
doubt my own memory.
But you're
Yeah.
probably
I'll look it
right.
up.
And like
Probably.
even Frank has his eyes are like lighter, like it's a lighter brown, so he looks more alive. While in Last Train, both of them, their irises, like the whole thing is black. So it looks like you're looking into the back of their skull. I don't know if anybody like agrees with me on that, but
I honestly don't really remember what their eyes look like.
I think what the issue you're having is maybe the animation looks a little stiff. I don't think that necessarily has anything to do with the actual character design, though. Um, I do think that Midnight in Salem could have used more character animation skills, and I mean, I mean, I'm not a game artist, so at least not I'm not a good game artist. So, they like Frank and Joe Hardy. I think all of the models look pretty good. I think if they were just animated more livelier, then they would be more acceptable. I think easier to connect with. Maybe instead, what we have is a lot of weird idle animations, and their mouths move. And I think the lip syncing thing, like I think they had a whole either they bought a plugin to do it or they had a whole company do the lip syncing, because there's a credit to a company that their whole entire thing is lip syncing in video games. And that works pretty well for them. But
okay, okay, Taylor, like we're running out of time. Okay. So the next one is Dave Gregory is a mediocre character.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really
Yeah,
do
I'm
that
pretty
much.
sure.
So
I'm pretty sure everybody can agree with it. I don't. I mean, people are horny. People are horny, so they think that there's more to him, I guess. But it just like
yeah,
he doesn't have that much. He's a good looking man. There, that's it. He's there to give you a
yeah.
letter. That's it. To show you a letter. Um, Next one. They one person says that they would rather not see the Hardy Boys or the other OG book characters in the game. Like they would rather them to be off-screen characters and not seen in game.
What? Lame.
I kind of understand that, but on one hand, I mean, they just have really good chemistry this last game. I thought.
Yeah. Also, the other thing is that originally in the books, they are there as part of the mystery. So, like, it's actually kind of weird that they aren't there. Like,
Yeah, that's definitely
if
like
you
a
go,
unpopular opinion. Doesn't really make any sense.
no.
I think that would be. I think what they would like is for like Ned to remain a phone character, which I
Oh.
also agree with.
I think they will
Mhm.
keep Ned as a phone character. I think Ned, Carson, Nancy, and Hannah are characters we're never gonna actually like.
Yeah, that I
see.
can agree with. But
Yeah.
people like the Hardy Boys don't agree with. I mean, they were very integral to the mystery. So the next one is Jeff Akers is way hotter than Dave.
Okay.
I've got some dirty boots you can lick if you like.
Okay. Well, I will admit that Jeff Akers is a daddy. I will disagree because personality is everything, and Jeff Akers'
Yeah.
personality is
Yeah, okay,
not that
so
great.
if we were to remove any personality, like just pretend that this is the first time you're meeting, like they didn't say one word. It's like all based on physique. Let's be real, all these men look the same.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are literally
They're
the same like
model.
model.
Yeah,
I'm
except
gonna
Jeff
need a
Akers is
side-by-side.
black and
Choose your
Dave is
race.
white.
Hang on.
Oh yeah. Can we see a side to side
Okay,
comparison between the two?
if you
I will
think
work
about
on
it, you could say the same character model is also for Andy Jason. Although, yeah, but like also,
Oh yeah, for sure.
like Andy Jason has that hair, so he already lost few points.
He is kind of ripped though, right? Like, doesn't he have like pretty
yeah, he
big arms?
does. Yes. So I would say Alejandro and Jeff Akers have the same model. Dave also, Dave maybe not though. Dave maybe not compared to like proximity between Jeff Akers and Alejandro Del Rio, like which by the way, like definitely use the same model, but maybe Dave maybe not so much. So, but if we remove all personality, though, like if it's like I'm pretending like I never met these people and I'm just seeing them side by side for the first time, none of them said a word. I will still say I will still say that Dave is better looking, but not by that much. Dave Akers is like very attractive, or an attractive man. Cause like if he doesn't open his mouth, that is.
I have posted it, and Alejandro and Dave are the same character model.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like,
Yeah, for
Alejandro
sure.
and Dave look so similar, like just in
They
the
at
face.
least did Jeff Akers justice and did change some stuff.
Yeah, Jeff Akers he has a slightly thinner jaw.
Yeah.
Cheekbones seem to have been brought in. As far as like hairline goes, they all have the same
They do.
hairline.
Yeah, it's just different hairstyles.
I've got a theory about how these characters were made, and I think they probably did not. I mean, they probably. Well, I have a theory. I'll just leave it that way.
There's a theory, and it exists.
Let's just give it like
Yes.
personal preference. What you like in a man? Like I don't know. Like I don't know if this person takes personality like as like into account or not. But if we put personality into account, yes, like Jeff Akers is the least attractive one. If we take into account their like their vibes and everything.
That is true. He has the worst personality of the three.
The next one, Shadow Ranch Cake, tastes terrible. I'm not sure how we would.
I've never made it.
There is a way to make Shadow Ranch Cake in real life.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to comment on it. Never tried it.
Isn't it just
Do you
like a
lemon
lemon
cakes?
cake?
I don't know.
Lemon
Yeah.
cake's
I like
pretty
lemon
good.
cake.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've heard people have made the cake recipe, but I've never tried it myself.
Yeah, like a lemon cake with like the poppy seeds in it. Or am I misremembering this? I don't know.
I don't. I thought it was just a vanilla cake.
I don't know anymore.
Oh,
because it's
I'm
like
not sure.
it's.
You know what? It is a vanilla cake. You're right.
I think it's like white frosting and then a marzipan tulip.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, there is a recipe.
So, yeah, if you don't like vanilla
there
cake,
is a recipe in that little box on the table. Like that's.
I've heard that the game recipes are like fake, like they're not real. You can't actually use them. But I think people have like come up with their own recipes.
I thought all this time was an actual real recipe. Okay, well.
I know at least in some of the games the measurements are like not real. Like it wouldn't actually make a good recipe.
Yeah, it's probably just in favor of making the game more interesting.
I mean, like
yeah,
not related to the Shadow Ranch cake, but it's like the brown sugar. Is it from from Danger by Design, like substitute the molasses that.
Oh, the molasses.
Is it? It's true.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Well, yeah, molasses is a sweetener,
okay.
so
Yeah.
you can do that.
Yeah,
I've had
you can
molasses
do
cookies
that.
before;
good
they're
to
pretty
know.
good.
I mean, I don't cook, so I mean, will I ever need that information? Probably not.
I don't cook. I don't clean.
That's exactly what came into my head.
All right. So
Please
the
do.
next unpopular opinion is, I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion. It's like Silent Spy sucks. I don't.
I know some people don't like it. I don't think it's a good game if you're new to the series because there's a lot of like in jokes that you won't understand. But I like the game a lot. I think it's a good one.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun playing it. I think on replay, it does have a fair amount of flaws. It doesn't make its way into my top half of the games usually. But
Yeah.
The
I think
puzzles
it
are
is still pretty
not
fun.
bad. It's just the story is so boring. The like Ewan, I think his name is. I have no idea what he's talking about most of the time. It's like this one. This is a. I've already talked about this before, but about the later games, all written by the same writer. They always have this one character that talks in metaphors or like enigmatic. They try to make this person very talking in enigmas, and it's like
Yeah.
it's so fucking
Yeah.
annoying. It's like it's not doing what they think that it's doing. If someone talked to me that way in real life, I'd be like, yeah, I'm leaving. I'm leaving this place. I literally like you are not making sense to me at all. I'm gonna go and do my thing.
If I met Sunny, yeah, if I met like Medallion Sunny June in real life, I would just kill him.
Sunny, yes, Sunny is also suffering from that syndrome. It's like,
It's like Sunny June. It's Thanos and Labyrinth of Lies. Like
to be
all of these
fair though,
guys
Sunny
are like,
Sunny
why
is
do you talk like this?
Yeah, they're talking like an
to be
anime
fair
villain.
though,
Yeah.
the Sunny wasn't the most frustrating one in that game. The other guy, Patrick, is the one who's
Patrick.
like, why are you talking about drowning like a gorilla or some shit like that? Like I mean, it's like
Yeah.
it comes
Yeah.
That
out
was wild.
from nowhere at all. I didn't ask him about any of that stuff. I didn't ask him about most of the stuff that he talks about. He's like, uh, I'm like, how's this relevant? Just answer my question. I don't know if it's because like okay, so you know, I don't know if it's because I'm neurodivergent, but like I hate it when it's like you have to interpret. Like I I would really love it if you are straight to the point. Just tell me what I need to know. Just be straightforward. Like just no bullshit. And most of the cast from the later games just talks in riddles, and was so sick of it. I was like, just tell me all the relevant information so I can get the fuck out of here. So,
Yeah.
and that guy Ewan from Silent Spire was so bad. I always dreaded talking to him because most of the time I'm like, I have absolutely no idea what he's talking about, and it's not the accent. It's absolutely not the accent. It's just him talking in riddles and in enigmas.
Yeah, I agree that is a problem with that game.
Yeah.
But I just think it's fun. That's all. I don't even think the story's that bad either, to be honest. Like I thought it was really interesting that there was this, basically a terrorist plot, and that I thought that whole plot was interesting. I thought it was a weird thing for Her Interactive to choose to make, and I like that they keep doing this, where they keep finding a plot that is so like not kid friendly, and then like going like, but what if we did make it kid friendly, like with like flames in their eyes, like we're gonna do
It's
it.
like a game about Nancy's mom being murdered, and they're like, rated E for everyone.
I think that one's E10, I think.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You
Ooh.
are like you love like not just games but movies also where it's like more it's a more open end where there are questions, a lot more questions, and you need to think about it to figure out.
That is true for some movies, but it has to be done well. And I don't think Silent Spy does it well, to be honest with you. But
For
I do
me,
think
the thing that bothers me the most is like, why was American Kate Drew working for like MI5?
Yeah.
Why was she not working for the CIA? Like, why
Yeah.
would surely American intelligence would be like, you can't work for another country's intelligence agency.
Yeah, they missed a step there.
I still don't know what happened to K. Drew. Literally, like I'm not sure exactly what happened. Like I know she died. That's what I know.
She died in a car accident. Because you find okay, so like I was watching a YouTuber play Silent Spy recently, and in Alex's letter that he leaves at the train station, he says that like several years before the start of the game, he was investigating a car accident that he thought was suspicious, and then he started getting threats from Revenant to back off, and he didn't, so Revenant burnt down his private investigator's office and destroyed all his files. And then, like, recently they kidnapped his sister to blackmail him into spying on Nancy. So she died in a car accident, but we don't know the exact circumstances, assuming someone
That's
from
what I'm
Revenant killed her.
saying.
But
Open-ended questions. Oh my gosh.
yeah, but I mean, the game ends when Nancy's like, "Oh, I'm gonna find all your letters," and like, I think it's like left like she's gonna try
Oh,
to figure it
she
out,
won't.
but
She'll go back to she'll go
If
back
we
to
can't, she
buffoonery.
won't.
She'll go back to the buffoonery. Yeah, it's like I wouldn't mind if they actually done something with it, but no, they just like, okay, well, we it's time for your fan theories. We're just gonna move on to something else. But you'll never answer the question. You'll never answer the question. Did Revenant mess up with? What did Revenant do to Kate? How did they do it? We need to know.
I think the secret. Well, I think the secret to having something that has like interesting things to think about is like mysteries that are left unanswered. Is if that information is actually important and has any like role to play in the real world. And it's like in the context of the game, it does. It's like how did Kate die? Who really killed Kate Drew? Like that is interesting in the game, but then it's not interesting outside of the game. So they just don't bother to answer because they're like, we're never coming back here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna throw one in, like a comment that I got. That it's not an actual unpopular opinion. It's just for fun. So that person says whales do not rule. Nothing that intelligent should be allowed to be so physically powerful. It's just a fun one that someone wrote. Okay. So some another person says that they do not hate the mini golf puzzle from Clock.
I don't hate it either.
Yeah,
I think it's
okay.
annoying, but I don't hate it.
I think that it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't like you were able to put in and just like use the force that you want, but like you go to the corner and it just like it prevents you to go any further. I feel like this is the part where I stumble the most. But other than that, I also don't mind the mini golf puzzle, but I have seen so many people having to redo it again and again and again, and to the point like they got like they were like on the verge of crying. Yep,
Me.
like you.
That would be me. I have yet to play that one, but that would be me.
Oh,
Like, or
jeez.
I should say,
Yeah,
replay that one.
I can see why it would be horrible for a lot of people, if especially if you're not good at aiming, and
I will say that's like my favorite game, like one of my favorite games though to play because I really love the 19 like I really like that time period as a whole. So it's quite enjoyable. But yeah, golf. No.
The thing that sucks the most about Clock is not the mini golf for me. It's the one with the cars.
Oh yeah, that one's tricky because it's like it's really hard to like. It's really hard to understand what he's like saying. That
Yeah,
that's one of those like you have to be able to like figure it out, and I just my brain can't sometimes.
All right. Any thoughts, Nikki, on that?
um, I think you guys said it
Oh, but
all.
do you
I don't
guys
really
play
have
mini
anything to
golf or
add.
not? Ah,
I'm neutral on mini golf. I don't think it's terrible, but
uh,
like I don't love it. It is kind of frustrating
hmm.
sometimes
I
to
see.
get
I see.
par.
Okay. Um. All right. So the next one is I don't like Harper from Ghost of Thornhall. I think she's mean and over the top.
Hmm.
I don't hate Harper, so I feel like I disagree with this one.
I think Harper is probably the most interesting character in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a very original, different character for the series, like the series as a whole, like very like out there. Like I don't know. For me, it's quite an enjoyable character. It's different.
I think it is. I think she is mean, but I don't. She deserves to be.
Yeah, I
Honestly.
mean, she went through a lot, so I don't know. And like, she's also like mistreated by her family, so I think she's
She
earned the right
okay,
to be mean.
so I like Harper, but she is overrated in my opinion. Like I like Harper. I really like Harper, but she's very overrated in the sense that Harper is like, yeah, she is sarcastic and she is mean. Yeah, she's mean and sarcastic, but she is not going in on her family, roasting her family like I was hoping that she would. She was If I had that much grudge against my family, I would have said way meaner stuff. I would have been way more sarcastic. I would have roasted them so much that the next times they look themselves in the mirror, they'll be like disgusted with themselves. Like it's and I feel like okay, so I don't know what it says about me. I don't know what that says about me, but I think Harper is not like sarcastic, hilarious. She is if she were if like she doesn't even come close to the Adams family. Let's say I wish she was more. What's the word for it? What's the word? I I was hoping she would be more funny. Okay, everybody is like silent, and it's like, and
Yeah.
I have a feeling that I don't know when this episode comes out. I mean, so that's my skin.
I'm sorry. I thought I was the one who
No, it's
ranted for
like
a long time.
I keep talking because nobody says anything. I love the string puzzle on the portrait of Shadowwater's Edge and Fox and Geese.
Agreed. I don't like Fox and Geese, but I do like the portrait backing puzzle, and I don't think it's as hard as everyone says it is.
I love
I
both.
like both those puzzles a lot.
Fuck Fox and Geese.
I don't like
Okay.
Fox and Geese because the
Okay.
first time I played White Wolf Icicle Creek, Nancy was playing Fox and Geese for like several in-game days because it took me like 3+ hours to beat it.
I was streaming it and I literally stopped stopped playing that game at Fox and Geese and just have moved on to another
Oh my
Nancy Drew game.
gosh. So I don't okay, so my VOD is like right now sitting there waiting to be edited. So the proof is not online right now. But for the people who have watched me play the drinking game, White
I
Wolf
heard.
drinking game, will can attest that I am a god at Fox and Geese. Like
Yep, I heard from another fellow streamer
but
like
once I
how
posted, y'all, you will see. You will see. You will witness greatness happen in front of your eyes. Okay. Once I posted I'm not gonna edit, and I think that most people, if they understood the strategy of Fox and Geese, could handle Fox and Geese. It's just that they haven't figured out yet the strategy to Fox and Geese. So that's why they
Yeah.
struggle so much. Um, I've had to explain that. By the way,
Yeah.
I played this one like a few years ago with Ellie. Ellie also sucked at Fox and Geese, and I assisted her while she was going through it, like giving her tips on how to do it. And ever since, I mean, what we can ask her, but I haven't heard her complain about Fox and Geese. So I don't know. Like I feel like once you explained the good tips and strategies to people about Fox and Geese, you're not gonna hear a complain about them. They'll be able to do it quickly. Not as quick as me though. But back of the portrait puzzle, there's also tips. There's also tricks to it. It's just not as yeah, it's
not
not
too
so
bad.
bad though. It's harder to explain, but it is easier to do than Fox and Geese, in my opinion. But it's harder to explain the tips and the tricks. So yeah, but yeah, both of them are super easy for me. Like no problem. All right, were the unpopular opinions.
Oh,
Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you very much, Tatum Sinclair, for rejoining us for this Unpopular Opinions episode 2.
you're welcome. I know I'm very unpopular, so this was the perfect match.
I can attest to that.
Oof. You can listen to The Real Housewives of River Heights on any podcast streaming service such as Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Don't forget to check out our Patreon, where you can listen to our bonus episodes and the pod a day earlier. As always, thank you again, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
My chicken cost $6.66.
Wow.
Nice.
The devil's chicken.
Devil's chicken.
It's the chicken. It's the chicken from Shadow Ranch.
Oh my god,
Yes.
it's El Pollo Diablo.